So the big event that's happening this weekend is, of course, the Go Fest Max Finale event. And I actually have a couple of concerns regarding the format of this event and all of the things leading up to it, which I want to talk about here in this video. So yeah, let's talk about it. I think this is going to produce a very interesting discussion, and hopefully it'll be productive for much better events in the future. Alright, how's it going everyone? Count Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So this weekend is, of course, the Pokemon Go Fest Max Finale event. This is meant to be a very big event that's going to close off the summer, introducing a new legendary Pokemon, and they're bringing back the crown forms of Zacian and Zamazenta and all that sort of good stuff. But I am actually a little bit concerned, mainly because this event is going to be very heavily tied to Dynamax battles, and I will say that for a majority of players, this is not necessarily content that they absolutely prioritize. But I think it goes beyond that. I feel like a lot of the content that they have for this big event is mainly group play, and it's stuff that you could only do with large swaths of people. And for a lot of people who live in rural areas or people who live in suburban areas with not a huge Pokemon Go community, it's going to be very difficult for them to get a lot of those Eternatus battles in unless they use remote raid passes, which are of course extremely expensive. So I am a little bit concerned because I feel like sometimes when it comes to the design of Pokemon Go, whether it be these sort of special events or anything that they introduce, they tend to go with the perspective that everyone is going to have the same experience that they do over in San Francisco, which is of course not the case, because for a majority of people, they live in suburban areas, or they live in rural areas where maybe they have one or two Pokestops near them and they have to drive out 15 to 20 minutes just to get a decent experience. For me, who live in a suburban area, I feel like for me, I have a decent Pokemon Go experience, but it's nothing like whenever I go to, like, let's say downtown Chicago. And I think that is something that maybe Niantic just simply does not understand, because we've seen it for the longest time. Yes, they've made some nice steps towards making the gameplay feel a little bit better for rural players, but I still feel like something like this is not going to cater to everyone. It's basically going to have a bit of gating, I feel. Like, there's going to be some players who are just simply not going to get a complete Max Finale event experience. And the reason why I say that is because the same can be said for a lot of the other events that they've had, whether it be Pokemon Go Fest, or whether it be the Wild Area event or the Go Tour event. Anytime they throw like a major event like this, often very much people are just not able to participate unless they live in a highly populated area, or they have access to go to a highly populated area. Like for example, for myself, if I want to participate in Pokemon Go Fest or Go Tour or Wild Area, I typically drive to downtown Chicago. The reason for that is because that's where a lot of other people are going. And it takes me about an hour in traffic to get to downtown Chicago, and then of course I have to pay for parking, and there's just a whole bunch of headaches. But usually the experience is worth it because I get a whole bunch of really good Pokemon, I'm able to jump into raids, and I have no issues getting those raid lobbies filled up, and I just have a very positive experience. Of course, I'm also very lucky because I live near a spot, like a hot spot within the Chicago suburbs that a lot of players do migrate to if they live in the local areas, and I'm talking about Schaumburg Town Square. If you watch a lot of my vlogs, you would know that I do actually go out to that spot quite often, but I do understand that not a lot of players have what I have, and I think that's something that really needs to be addressed in order for events like this to actually succeed. Because when I look at the Max Finale event, I do feel like it is going to be somewhat of an exciting event. There's definitely a lot of things to look forward to with this event, but overall the format of it just seems to cater towards those who live in high population areas. And I think because of that, a lot of players are not necessarily going to get a lot of fun out of it. So yeah, I think that's a bit unfortunate. And also, the other thing I want to talk about is regarding this Go Pass leading up to the Max Finale event, because this Go Pass is actually your way of getting yourself an Eternatus without having to do any of those Eternamax battles. And I think that's great. I think that the fact that they're offering a way for you to get the new legendary without actually having to get a giant group together and complete these battles, that's all fine and dandy. But of course, we know there is a massive candy cost to power it up, to use the new adventure effect move, all that sort of thing. It seems like with Eternatus, everything is scaled way high compared to other legendaries. And I think because of that, it will be essentially necessary for you to complete a bunch of those battles to get those candies. Because I think the initial report is that you get about 100 candy with every win. That is pretty substantial, but of course, you do need a good number of players to be able to take it down. So yeah, I think some players are going to miss out. Maybe they want a really good Eternatus. Maybe the Eternatus that they do get is going to be really good. Maybe it has high IVs and they want to power it up, but they can't get the candies for it because they can't complete the battles. These are some of the problems that I do foresee with this coming weekend. And of course, I think a lot of the content is very much niche. They did not really expand a lot of the content like they typically do for Pokemon Go Fest and Go Tour and all that sort of stuff. It just seems like it's specifically geared towards Dynamax battles. The wild spawns are not something to raise an eyebrow at. The raiding content is kind of decent with Crown Form Zacian and Zamazenta, but overall it seems like the major emphasis is all around Dynamax battles, and that may not necessarily be interesting to a majority of players. The reason why I say that is because anytime they have an event like this, they typically do include Gigantamax content. And something that I've noticed is that for a majority of people, they just simply do not care about it. Like, I went to Pokemon Go Fest in Jersey City. That was a phenomenal event. They had whole bunches of Gigantamax battles going around the clock. I hardly saw those lobbies get filled up as much as the raid lobbies were, and I did not see a lot of players running to complete a Gigantamax battle. It was essentially supplemental content. It didn't feel like one of the main highlights. So having a big event that's specifically geared towards Dynamax content, I just don't know how successful that is going to be. I could be completely wrong, of course, because when I look at my own local communities, it seems like anytime there is a Gigantamax battle day, there is a huge turnout of people. So there is definitely going to be a chunk of players who are excited about this content, but I still feel like it's just too new. I still feel like it's just something that hasn't really flourished yet, and maybe for a lot of players, they just simply just do not care about it. There's definitely players out there who do not care about PvP, for example. There's definitely players out there who do not care about, I guess, like any kind of special activity that's aside from raids and collecting Pokemon. So I feel like for a lot of people, this is kind of one of those events where they're not necessarily going to care about it as much. So yeah, that's just some of my own little thoughts and opinions regarding everything that's going to be happening this weekend. Again, I personally am a little bit excited, even though I'm essentially going to be missing the whole thing, because at the time that they are going to be throwing this event, I'm actually going to be on a plane to South Korea. And yeah, that means for a majority of the Max Finale event, I essentially will be completely unable to play. That's a little bit unfortunate, and I am feeling a little bit bummed about that, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily extremely thrilled about Dynamax content, so as long as I get my one Eternatus for the Pokédex entry, I think I'm okay. But that's essentially how I feel. But in any case, yeah, that's basically going to be it for this video. I just wanted to share some thoughts that I've had regarding this weekend, and I really do think this is a discussion that we do need to get going within the Pokemon Go community, because ultimately Niantic is listening, at least from what I perceived. So maybe they can get some really good feedback, maybe they can get some new insights from the Pokemon Go community, as long as we're being constructive, and maybe they can have much better events in the future. So definitely share your thoughts regarding this Max Finale event down below. Is there any concerns that you have? Are you in full agreement or disagreement with everything that I said? Definitely share your thoughts, and yeah, let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget the notification bell so that you know when I upload videos. It's pretty important. So yeah, and if you want to support my channel, the best way you can do that is going to be by joining my Patreon. So if you want to become a permanent spot on my Pokemon Go friends list, then you should definitely go and check out my Patreon, because for all of my paid Patreon members, I will be adding them to my Pokemon Go friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids, the friendship system, opening and sending gifts. If you're interested in playing Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. I'll put a link to it in the description below. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, you can do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms you see right now on the bottom of your screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow, and you'll have access to some exclusive content, and you'll be able to keep up with my daily life, especially when I'm in Korea, and that's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, with that said, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, make sure you look in the mirror, tell yourself that you're awesome because I think you're awesome, and I'll catch you all later.